Tomel sat quietly in the small transport ship as it moved through space toward the planet Zereth. He wore a plain gray uniform with a silver badge on his chest. The badge marked him as a peace guard, one of the few humans chosen to serve at the Vreni court. It was an honor, though he did not know why he had been chosen. He was not a famous soldier. He was not rich or from a powerful family. Still, his orders were clear. He was to report to the palace of the Vreni queen and follow her command. The planet Zereth came into view. It was not like Earth. The sky was not blue but a soft green. The ground was covered in silver grass, and the trees looked like glass, tall and thin with glowing roots. Tomel watched silently as the ship landed on a platform near a wide palace made of stone and light. The Vreni had no windows. Their buildings breathed, shifting slightly as if alive. When the doors opened, two Vreni guards stepped forward. They were tall, with smooth skin like polished metal, and wide, bright eyes. They did not speak. They simply looked at Tomel, then turned and walked. Tomel followed them through long halls lit from within the walls. The floor made no sound under his boots. At last, they reached a tall gate covered in markings. A voice spoke from inside the wall. It was deep and soft, like wind passing through trees. Bring in the human. The doors opened. Inside was a large chamber shaped like a circle. At the center stood a tall figure with silver wings folded behind her back. She was the queen of the Vreni. Her name was Ishka. Tomel stood still as the guard stepped aside. He bowed slightly. Ishka turned to face him. The moment her eyes met his face, she stopped moving. Her wings dropped just a little. Her body became still, as if frozen in time. The guards looked at each other, confused. Ishka stared at him, her large eyes, the color of old moonlight, did not blink. She took one step forward, then another. Slowly, she moved closer until she stood only a few steps away from Tomel. Your name? She asked. Tomel. He replied, unsure if he should speak more. She tilted her head. Tomel, she repeated quietly, as if testing the name. Then, in a softer voice, she said something strange. You look like him. Tomel blinked. I'm sorry. The queen took a step back. Leave us, she said to the guards. The guards hesitated. It was rare for the queen to be alone with a human. But they obeyed and left the chamber, letting the tall doors close behind them. Tomel waited. He felt nervous, but he kept his hands at his sides and his back straight. Ishka walked in a slow circle around him. Her eyes scanned every part of his face, his arms, the way he stood. She spoke again, but her voice was no longer cold. You are not Vreni, she said, but you look like one who was. Tomel said nothing. His name was Saren. She continued. He was one of us. He stood where you stand now, 10 cycles ago. Tomel did not understand. I don't know this Saren. No, she said. You would not. He vanished before you were born. There was a long silence. You are not him, she said at last. But something in you is the same. The eyes, the quiet, even your name is close. Tomel looked at her with calm eyes. He had seen strange things before, but never like this. If you believe I can help you in some way, I will do my best. The queen did not answer right away. She stepped back to her throne, which was carved from smooth stone and shaped like an open flower. She sat down and looked at him. I do not know what you are meant to do, she said, but you will remain near me, close. I wish to understand, as you command, said to Meldot. She gave him a strange look, almost like a smile. Though the Vreni did not smile like humans, it was more in her eyes than her mouth. Humans speak of peace, but few act with peace. I wonder what you will show me. Tomel bowed again. I will serve in peace. Another long silence passed, but it was not heavy. Ishka stood again. She touched a panel on the wall, and a soft tone rang out. A moment later, a new figure entered. He was Vreni, older, with dark bands across his arms. This is Elan, she said. He will take you to your new quarters. You will rest and be ready for service tomorrow. Tomel nodded. Thank you, as Elan led him out of the chamber. Tomel felt the queen's eyes follow him, even when he stepped through the gate and into the hall beyond. He could still feel her gaze behind him. It was not fear he felt, but something harder to name. As they walked through the quiet halls, Elan looked at him with interest. You must have made an impression. The queen has not spoken of Saren in many years. Tomel looked at him. You knew him? Elan nodded once. We all did. He was close to the queen. Too close, some said. But he vanished on Earth. The last we saw of him was a message from a human ship. Then silence. I've never heard of him, Tomel said. I've never seen a Vreni before today. That may be true. Elan replied. But something brought you here, and something made her stop. Tomel had no answer. He followed Elan to a wide room with soft light and walls that pulsed like slow breathing. A small table, a resting place, and a panel with simple instructions. You may ask for food or calm light. Speak to the wall, and it will answer, Elan said. You will be summoned in the morning. Tomel thanked him, and Elan left. He sat down quietly, hands on his knees. His thoughts were heavy, but not loud. He looked at the wall and whispered. Who was Saren? The wall did not reply. He lay back and stared at the soft green light above him. The queen's voice echoed in his mind. You look like him. Sleep came slowly. The morning light on Zirith was soft and golden. It came not from the sun, but from the sky itself, which glowed gently as the world woke up. Inside the palace, everything moved in silence. The walls shifted to let in warmth, and the air smelled like fresh leaves after rain. Tomel rose early. He had not slept well. His dreams had been strange. In one dream, he was walking through a forest he had never seen before. The trees had silver bark, and the wind whispered in a language he did not know. Yet he somehow understood. In the dream, someone was waiting for him at the edge of a cliff. Calling a name he could not remember, when he woke, he dressed in the soft robe left for him and waited. Soon, a small sound came from the wall near the door. It was a light bell tone, followed by a voice. The queen will receive you. Tomel stepped out into the hallway, where Elan was already waiting. The older Vreni gave a short nod and walked ahead. They did not speak as they moved through long, smooth corridors. Other Vreni passed them, but did not stop. Their eyes lingered on Tomel, but they said nothing. When they reached the same tall gate from the day before, Elan paused. He placed a hand on the door. It opened slowly, revealing the chamber where Queen Ishka waited. She stood near the center, not seated. Round her were large crystal shapes floating in the air. They moved gently, turning without sound. Each one showed a different image, a face, a place, a symbol. Tomel noticed that some of the faces looked very old. One of them looked exactly like him. He stepped into the room and bowed slightly. Ishka turned to him with a calm expression. You rested well? She asked. Yes, Tomel said. Thank you. She walked to one of the crystals and touched it. The image changed. Now it showed a wide valley with high mountains. Do you know this place? She asked. Tomel looked at it. He had never seen it before. Yet something about it felt familiar. The shape of the hills. The way the mist moved between the trees, it gave him the same feeling as his dream. No, he said slowly. But it feels quiet, like somewhere I've been in a dream. Ishka watched him for a moment, then touched the crystal again. It now showed a young Vreni male standing beside her. He had the same eyes as Tomel. The same calm face. Even the way he stood felt familiar. This is Saren, she said. He stood beside me during the first talks with Earth. He believed peace could be real. Tomel stepped closer. He was your soldier. He was more than that, she said. He was my balance. He asked questions no one else would. He looked at humans with kindness when others only saw danger. She turned toward him. He entered a human ship 10 years ago to speak with their leaders. He never came back. The ship was found empty. No sign of battle. No sign of Saren. Tomel listened quietly. You think I'm connected to him? I do not know what to think, Ishka said. But the moment I saw you, I felt something I had not felt in many years, something I thought lost. Tomel did not speak. He looked again at the image of Saren. It was strange, seeing someone who looked like him, but was clearly not him. It felt like looking into a mirror from another time. I do not know your story, she said, but I want to learn it, and perhaps, in learning, I will find what I lost. Tomel nodded. I'm ready to help. Ishka gave a small motion with her hand. The crystals dimmed and floated away. The room grew quiet again. Today, you will walk with me, she said. Not as a guard, as a guest. She moved toward a side passage, and Tomel followed. The halls were different here. They were older, with stone floors and carvings along the walls. The air smelled of deep earth and old memory. They entered a garden with no roof. The plants glowed with soft light, and a pool of still water reflected the sky. Ishka stood beside the water and looked at the reflection. Before peace talks began, we did not trust your kind, she said. We saw humans as loud and quick to act, but Saren said there was more beneath that noise. He said your kind had deep hearts, full of wonder and sadness. Tomel looked into the pool. His reflection stared back at him, calm and silent. I'm not like most soldiers, he said. I joined because I wanted to understand, not to fight. Ishka looked at him. That is what Saren said. She walked along the edge of the pool. You may not be him. I did not expect him to return. But perhaps something of him chose you. Perhaps the stars are not as empty as we think. Tomel followed her quietly. Birds with shining feathers flew above the garden, singing soft notes. The peace of the place settled around him like a blanket dot as they returned to the palace. More Vrinai watched. Some whispered. One young Vrinai stepped forward. Queen, he said. Is it true this human looks like Saren? Ishka turned to him. It is true. The young Vrinai looked at Tomel with wide eyes. Then maybe he brings the same hope. Ishka nodded but did not speak. They returned to the central hall, where Elan waited. You will continue your duties tomorrow, Ishka told Tomel. But stay near. I may have more questions. Tomel bowed. Of course, as he turned to leave, she said one last thing. When the stars call to you in dreams, listen. They may be trying to speak. That night, Tomel dreamed again. This time, the voice called him by another name. Tomel woke with a start. His dream had been stronger than before. He had stood in a forest. Not the one from before, but something even older and darker. Strange shapes moved in the mist. And a voice called his name, not Tomel, but something else. He could not remember the exact word, but the sound stayed with him like a song he almost knew. He sat up in the dim light of his room. The walls glowed softly, reacting to his breath. He rubbed his face, trying to clear the feeling from his mind. Something inside him was changing. He could feel it. Soon, a gentle bell rang from the wall. Ellen's voice followed. The queen asks for you. Tomel stood and dressed. The robe he wore now was white with a thin blue line across the shoulder, a symbol that he had entered the queen's inner circle. Few humans had ever reached such a place in Vrinai society. Elan waited outside his door, quiet as always. They walked through the palace halls, past tall silver doors and wide glowing windows. Today, they did not go to the throne room. Instead, they went deeper, into a part of the palace Tomel had never seen before. The hallways grew darker. The walls became smooth stone instead of living crystal. Old carvings lined the way symbols, faces, and scenes from Vrinai history. Tomel felt something deep in the air. Like quiet voices speaking from the past, they stopped at a round door. With no handle, Elan placed both hands on it, and a soft hum filled the space. The door opened inward, and Tomel stepped through alone. Inside was a small chamber with no lights. Yet the room glowed gently with a soft green hue. Queen Ishka stood at the center, wearing a long robe made of layered silver fabric. Round her floated 6 large stones, each pulsing with slow light. She did not speak at first. She simply looked at Tomel. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes held something quiet and powerful. Tomel stood still, waiting. She raised her hand. The stones slowly began to turn. Each one showed moving images, some of Vrinai cities, some of planets, some of strange creatures that no longer existed. One showed a group of humans meeting with Vrinai diplomats. Another showed a young Vrinai walking beside her. Tomel recognized the young one. It was Saren. You are not him, Ishka said at last. Tomel nodded. But you are close, she added. So close that I wonder if the stars are playing tricks. He took a step forward. What do you want me to do? She looked at one of the stones, and it showed a scene from 10 years ago. A Vreni ship approaching a human vessel. Then the view shifted to static. The signal broke. The connection was lost. That was the last time we saw Saren, she said. The human ship sent a single message saying he had vanished. No signs of attack. No reason given. Then silence. Tomel frowned. No one on Earth talks about this. At least, I've never heard of it. No, she said. Your leaders covered it, and your people forgot. But we did not. She stepped toward him. Tell me, Tomel, when did you begin to dream of places you have never seen? Tomel looked at her in surprise. After I came here. Not before. He paused. Not like this. She reached into her robe and pulled out a small sphere, no larger than a stone. She handed it to him. It felt warm. This is a memory key, she said. It holds Saren's last messages to me. They were locked away after his disappearance. I believe they were meant for someone who might understand. Tomel looked down at the sphere. It glowed faintly in his palm. He felt something move in his chest, not pain, but pressure, as if a door had opened somewhere inside. Place it near your heart, Ishka said. He did as told. The moment the sphere touched his chest, a flash of light filled the room. The stones above spun faster. The air became thick with sound, not noise, but whispers. Voices layered over one another. Then one voice came clear. It was calm, deep, and full of quiet strength. This is Saren, the voice said. If you hear this, I'm gone. But something of me remains, not in the mind, but in the pattern. In the space between, Tomel's eyes widened. I offered myself to the old experiment. The voice continued. A way for the Vreni to understand the soul. The humans had begun tests on memory transfer. They believed they could move thought across life. I offered my memory, but the system was unstable. They warned it might scatter across time. I accepted. The room fell silent again. The stone slowed to Mel lowered the sphere. His heart was racing. What does it mean? He asked. Ishka stepped close. Her voice was gentle. It means part of him may have found a home in you. Not a full return, but a spark. Something woven into your spirit. You are not Saren reborn. You are Tomel. But you carry something more. Tomel sat on the smooth floor. His thoughts swirled. It was too much. Yet at the same time, it felt true. Ishka sat across from him. I did not expect you to believe it at once. But listen to the dreams. Follow the feelings. They may guide you. He nodded slowly. Outside, a soft bell rang. Ellen's voice came through. A hidden channel. Queen, the council waits. They demand answers about the human. Ishka stood. Her face turned firm again. Then we shall give them the truth, or at least, what we can. She looked at Tomel once more. Come with me. He rose. As they left the chamber, Tomel looked back at the stones one last time. They still turned. Quietly, like stars circling a hidden truth. Tomel walked beside Queen Ishka as they moved through the long hallway toward the council chamber. The air felt tense, and even the walls seemed more quiet than usual. The queen's steps were steady, but Tomel could feel something heavy around her. It was not fear. It was something deeper, something close to memory. They stopped before a tall door made of dark stone. Symbols glowed along its edge. A deep tone rang out as the doors opened. Inside, a wide round room held 6 Vreni council members. Each wore robes of a different color. Behind them, long banners hung with signs of their houses. They looked at the queen, then at Tomel. The queen stepped forward. We are not here to speak of fear, she said. We are here to speak of what is true. One counselor, an elder named Marin, spoke first. We hear strange stories. The human looks like Saren. Now you bring him here as if he carries a spirit not his own. Another counselor stood. Her name was Valor. Her voice was calm but sharp. If you believe this human is part of Saren, then we must ask what that means. Is this peace or danger? Tomel stayed quiet. He had not been asked to speak, and he was still trying to understand all that had happened. Queen Ishka raised her hand. He is not Saren, but he carries something, a memory, a voice, a dream. Maren leaned forward. And where did this voice come from? Ishka looked at Tomel. Show them. Tomel stepped forward and held up the memory sphere. This was found in the Queen's chambers. It holds a message from Saren. When I touched it, the message played. Play it now, Valor said. Tomel pressed the sphere to his chest again. A light filled the room. The voice of Saren echoed once more. This is Saren. If you hear this, I'm gone. But something of me remains. The message ended. Silence followed. Maren stood slowly. We remember this experiment. We warned against it. Playing with memory is not our way. But it was Saren's choice, Ishka said. He believed it could help us understand others, especially humans. Valor nodded. Still, we must ask what we do now. This human stands before us. His dreams grow stronger. If the memory inside him is waking, we must act. Tomel finally spoke. I do not want harm. I did not ask for this, but I feel it. I see places in dreams. I hear voices I never knew. I want to understand. Maren looked at him. And if we find danger inside you? Tomel met his eyes. Then you do what you must. But I believe this was meant for peace. The Queen placed a hand on Tomel's shoulder. He will stay close. He will not be alone. And we will watch, not with fear, but with care. The council did not answer right away. Then Valor gave a short nod. So be it, but no secrets. If the dreams grow dark, we must all know. Ishka agreed. The meeting ended. Later that day, Tomel returned to his room. His thoughts were full. He sat near the wall and looked at the sphere again. He did not press it. He only held it. It felt warm in his hand. He opened a drawer near his bed. Inside, he found something he had not seen before, a small book bound in soft cloth. There was no title. He opened it. Inside were symbols in Vrini script. Yet as he looked, he could read them. Somehow, his mind turned the shapes into words. He began to read. Day 1. The human world is not as I thought. It is loud, yes, but there is beauty in their chaos. I began to see why they move so fast. Time feels different here. Tomel turned them. Page. Day 4. I met a human today named Jaren. He asked me if the stars had a heart. I told him yes. We just don't listen long enough. Tomel's hands trembled. He kept reading. Day 8. I've agreed to try the transfer. They say it's safe, but I know better. If this is my end, I hope my thoughts find light somewhere else. Maybe even someone else. The writing was clear, calm, gentle. It felt like someone thinking out loud to a friend. Tomel closed the book and held it close. He knew now that part of Saren's mind was inside him. Not full control, not a lost spirit, but a memory, a feeling, a light passed on. That night, Queen Ishka called him again. They met in the same quiet garden with the glowing pool. The stars above moved slowly, and the water reflected every point of light. She sat on a smooth stone and looked at the sky. When I was young, I thought the stars were cold, but Saren said they were full of stories. Tomel sat beside her. I read his words today, in a book I found in my room. She looked at him. You read Vrini script. I don't know how, but when I looked, the meaning came. She nodded. Then the memory is growing stronger. They sat in silence for a while. Then Ishka spoke softly. If the dream becomes too loud, you must tell me. Tomel nodded. I will. I do not want to lose another voice, she said. Not again. Tomel looked at the sky. Maybe this time, the story will have a better ending. She gave him a look full of quiet hope. The days passed quietly, but carried weight like distant thunder. Tomel felt the memories within him stirring more often. Sometimes, when he was alone, the voice of Saren whispered softly inside his mind. It spoke of faraway places, forgotten truths, and old hopes. The memories were fragments, like pieces of a puzzle he could not yet see whole. One morning, Tomel woke feeling uneasy. The air in his room felt thick, as if something was waiting just beyond his sight. He dressed slowly and left the room, sensing that today would be different. Elan met him silently outside. The older Vreni's face showed no surprise when Tomo followed him through the palace halls. They passed familiar places, the gardens where Ishka spoke to him, the crystal chambers, but the calm of those places now felt fragile. They reached the queen's private study. The door opened before Tomo could knock. Inside, Queen Ishka stood looking at a large map glowing on the wall. The map showed many stars and ships moving between them. The lights blinked softly like fireflies. "Good morning, Tomo," she said without turning. "Come closer. I want to show you something." Tomo stepped forward, his eyes on the map. A cluster of small dots glowed brighter than the rest. "What is that?" he asked. "That is the human fleet," Ishka said. "They are preparing for a new mission, a journey beyond our known space. They do not know all the dangers." Tomo felt a chill. "Do you think it is dangerous?" She looked at him. "There is more to it. The humans have been searching for something lost long ago." Tomo frowned. "Like Saren?" "Exactly." Suddenly, a sharp sound interrupted them. It was a soft beep from a small device on the table. Elan moved quickly to pick it up. "It is a message," he said, "from the council." Ishka read the words silently. Then she looked at Tomo with a serious face. "They want you to attend a private meeting. There are questions about your role here." Tomo nodded. "I will go." The council chamber was colder than before. The 6 counselors sat in silence. When Tomo entered, Marin spoke first. "We have watched the dreams. The memories grow stronger in the human. It is no longer quiet inside him. We fear the past may bring trouble." Valor added, "We have seen changes in the stars, signals that cannot be ignored." Tomo felt eyes on him, questioning and wary. He took a breath and said, "I do not want trouble. I only want to understand the memory inside me, to find peace." Marin leaned forward. "If the memory is a weapon, what will you do? If it leads to danger?" Tomo met his gaze steadily. "Then I will fight it with all I have." The council remained quiet. Later, Tomo returned to the garden. The soft glow of the plants comforted him, but inside, shadows moved like whispers. He sat by the pool, staring at his reflection. Suddenly, the water rippled, and the face of Saren appeared. It spoke in a calm voice only Tomo could hear. "Tomo, the past is not gone. It waits in the dark. You must be ready." Tomo's heart raced. "What must I do?" "Trust the light inside you. Remember the promise. You carry more than memory. You carry hope." The face faded, and the water stilled. Tomo stood, feeling a new strength. He would protect this hope, no matter what came. That night, he dreamed again. This time, he walked through a corridor of stars. At the end stood a figure, not quite Saren, not quite himself. The figure smiled and said, "The story is not finished. You are the next chapter." Tomo woke with the dawn. The stars outside still shone, and in his heart, a quiet promise. Tomo felt the weight of the coming days heavy on his shoulders. The dreams had become stronger, clearer, but they brought no peace. Instead, they were warnings, pieces of a story he needed to understand, but the meaning was still hidden. The palace was busier than before. Ships came and went, diplomats met in secret rooms, and whispers filled the halls like a soft wind before a storm. Queen Ishka's face was serious, but she did not speak of fear. She spoke of preparation. One morning, Tomo was called to the council chamber again. This time, the room felt colder, the tension sharper. The council sat waiting as he entered. Ishka stood beside them. Marin spoke. "First, the human fleet moves closer to the edge of our space. We have detected signs of old technology activating, things we thought lost." Valor added, "The memory inside the human guard grows. It is more than a message now. It is a key." Tomo felt a chill but stood firm. "What key?" Ishka stepped forward. "A key to the past, and maybe the future." Saren was part of a secret experiment to save his people. The memory transfer was meant to protect knowledge, to survive beyond death. Marin nodded. "If this knowledge falls into the wrong hands, it could bring ruin. We must keep it safe." Tomo looked around. "How do I help?" "You must learn." Ishka said, "The past is inside you. The future depends on what you remember. Days passed. Tomel trained with the Vreni scholars and warriors. He learned about old star systems, lost battles, and hidden alliances. His dreams gave him clues. But he still could not see the full picture. One evening, Ishka found him in the garden again. The stars above were bright, and the air smelled of blooming flowers. Tomel, she said softly, do you trust yourself? He looked at her. I want to. But sometimes, the memory feels like a shadow I cannot control. She smiled gently. That is normal. The past is heavy, but you carry light too. Remember that. Suddenly, the sky above them flickered. A small fleet of unknown ships appeared, moving quickly toward the palace. Alarms rang out. Guards rushed past. The council called an emergency meeting. Tomel stood beside Ishka as the doors closed. Behind them, the counselors spoke in hurried tones. They come for the knowledge, Marin said. We must protect the memory at all costs, Valor added. Our defenses may not hold long. Tomel looked at Ishka. What can I do? She placed a hand on his arm. You are more than a guard now. You are the keeper of a promise. You must face what comes. The fleet outside grew larger. Ships of strange design, with no banners or signs. They were silent hunters in the dark. Tomel's heart pounded. He thought of the voice inside him, of the face in the water. The promise of hope. As the first ships entered the atmosphere, he felt a calm wash over him. I am ready, he said. Ishka nodded. Then we stand together. Outside. The battle began. The palace lights flashed as defenses activated. Ships in the sky clashed like stars falling. Inside, Tomel held the memory sphere close. The voice of Saren spoke again, steady and strong. Trust the light, it said. The story is not over. Tomel closed his eyes and stepped forward, ready to protect the future. The battle above the palace raged fiercely. Bright flashes of light cut through the dark sky as ships darted and clashed. The hum of energy weapons filled the air. But inside the palace, calm reigned. Tomel stood beside Queen Ishka, holding the memory sphere tightly. He could feel the voice of Saren inside, steady and strong. Guiding him, the attackers wanted the secrets hidden in the memory. But Tomel and the Vreni would not give them away easily. Suddenly, the palace shook. The outer shields flickered. A warning sounded through the halls. Tomel, Ishka said, her voice calm but firm. You must protect the chamber. No one can reach the memory. Tomel nodded and moved quickly through the winding corridors. His mind was clear. The dreams had prepared him. The promise inside gave him strength. As he reached the chamber door, he saw a group of strange figures trying to force it open. They were tall and shadowy, with eyes that glowed faintly. Tomel stepped forward without hesitation. Stop, he shouted. The leader of the intruders turned. Step aside, human. This is not your fight. Tomel shook his head. It is my fight. I carry the memory. I protect the future. The intruder raised a weapon, but Tomel moved faster. His body reacted on its own. He dodged and struck with a strength he did not know he had. The fight was quick but fierce. More guards arrived and helped push the attackers back. The chamber was safe for now. Tomel leaned against the wall, breathing hard. The memory sphere pulsed softly in his hand. He closed his eyes and heard Saren's voice again. Courage is the light that guides us through the darkest night. A moment later, Ishka and her warriors joined him. The battle is not over, she said. But you have proven yourself. The memory inside you is alive. It is a force for hope. Tomel looked at the queen and then at the sphere. I don't know if I am ready to carry this forever. She smiled. No one is. But we will stand with you. Days passed. The fleet that had attacked slowly withdrew. The Vreni repaired their defenses and honored those lost. Tomel spent time learning more about the memory inside him and how it connected to the history of both humans and Vreni. One evening, Tomel and Ishka stood again by the glowing pool. The stars reflected in the water, bright and clear. I feel different now, Tomel said. Like a bridge between two worlds. Ishka nodded. You are more than a guard. You are a symbol of hope. A reminder that even across the stars, life can find connection. Tomo smiled softly. Maybe this is the beginning of a new story. She looked at him with quiet pride. Yes, a story where we choose peace and understanding over fear together. They watched the stars. The future was uncertain, but the promise inside Tomo burned bright, a new dawn for humans and Vreni alike.